Okay, well, we'll go ahead.
These were the first words I heard on my trip to Guatemala with my mom in about 5th grade. They were spoken by my grandmother in her native language, Zutuil, which is a native Mayan language, which there are about 22 dialects of currently. Directly translated, it means, my grandson, you are a fire jaguar from the sun, but closer to what it actually means is, my grandson, you are beautiful and I love you. This was the first time I was meeting her and a lot of my other family. With less than 50,000 people in the world that speak Zutuil, I believe it's really important to learn and respect the traditions of the Mayan people, especially because my dad was Mayan. So my dad was born and raised in the small town of Santiago Atitlan, which is a small town in southern Guatemala. And I went there and visited him in 5th grade and met a lot of my uncles and aunts and my grandmother and my cousins. And it was during Easter break, and so there it's called Easter, Semana Santa, so the week of Easter, so they have a whole week of celebrations. I was only there for 3 days though. Santiago Atitlan was worlds away from anything I had ever experienced before, and as a 5th grader, it was a lot to take in. Throughout the entire town, there's an encompassing sense of community. Everyone's super nice and friendly. You can go up to anyone and start a conversation. And then within houses too, most families will live all together in a single house, and any money or food that they bring back is everyone's food or money. So everything's super communal. The housing is a lot different in the residential areas of the town. There'll be quarter to half-mile blocks of like a single building, and then each like house is separated by a thin wall. So everyone shares walls and roofs, and the roof, all the roofs are kind of like the social kind of activity. Everyone will go up on the roof and talk to each other, and you know your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor. So only the main city streets are paved, and even that's only cobblestone. There's a lot of dirt roads, so it was crazy going there and experiencing this. So during the during Semana Santa, the most important day is on Palm Sunday, where all the people wake up really early and will line the streets or lay the streets with these big murals made of like colored sawdust and like powder and flowers, and they're biblical scenes, and then also just like beautiful landscapes. And contrary to popular belief, a lot of the remaining Maya people don't believe in like the gods and all the ancient stuff that you hear about, like 2012 and all that. Because when the Spanish came in like the 14 and 1500s, the Mayan people were welcoming to Catholicism, and so what they believe in is kind of like a mix of what their past beliefs and what the ancient Mayans believed and Catholicism. So it creates this really cool environment, especially during Easter, which is the most important time of year for them. So they lay the streets with these huge murals on Palm Sunday, and they have these big floats and these crazy costumes, and there's music and there's free food, and people are giving out clothing, and everyone comes together, which is really nice. And by the end, you feel like you just did a color run because all of the powder and like, the sawdust is all over you, but it's great and the food is great. And my takeaway from this trip was greater than I could have ever expected. I enjoyed meeting my aunts and uncles and cousins and talking with them and learning about where I came from and who I am. And as cliche as that sounds, it was a really life-changing experience. And because I enjoyed the parade on Sunday so much, every Easter since then, my mom and I FaceTime them. I haven't been able to return because it's gotten really dangerous, but we FaceTime them, and during that Sunday, we watched the parade with them, which is really cool. So learning about where you come from and the culture of your parents and your parents' parents and their parents, I think is really important, and it can be one of the most meaningful things that you do, and absolutely teaches you about yourself and sometimes shapes who you want to be. And this is why I chose to share this experience with you and the tradition